All right, now let's help the people out with some value tonight, okay? So Padres infielder Jake Cronenworth has beat up Colorado this year. He's got a 361 average with 4 home runs, 8 RBIs in 17 games against the Rockies. So tonight's game is also at Coors Field. Are we going to chase or fade? Cronenworth is a top value play tonight. Erik, he's only $3,900.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. A lot of those secondary factors are pushing in both directions. For one, everybody loves everyone at Coors, so maybe you want to differentiate yourself from the crowd and not go there. Also, he's facing German Marquez, who is quite good, even with Coors Field factored in. He's got a 3.77 ERA on the year. He's been a little shakier lately, 5.40 ERA, although some of the underlying numbers in those starts are still just fine. But I think the value's there that I would still go with Cronenworth tonight at just $3,900. He's the 24th most expensive shortstop, and he's 12th at the position in points per game, and he's got the most hitter-friendly park in the league. I mean, that you just don't see that kind of value very often. And he's even batting cleanup now, which is not what I think we would have expected heading into the year. Not really known as mostly a power hitter, although he has definitely some power. Anybody can have power in Coors too. So I think there's enough value that I still like it, and the main reason that I would go against it again is just wanting to differentiate myself from the Coors chasing crowd.
All right, Nick, what do you think? $3,900, do you like that?
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely one of the top guys tonight, and I'm with Erik. The only reason that you would want to go away from this one at all would be because everybody's going to want to get a piece of this action because, of course, this Padres going at Coors Field. Why not? But with Cronenworth specifically, he's got double-digit DK fantasy points in 5 of his last 10 games. And where I talk about Votto, and he's got a pretty decent sample size against Hendricks, he doesn't. Cronenworth doesn't have a big one against Marquez, but he has done well in his opportunities. A few extra base hits mixed in there. And at this price, you can't pass up on him. If you're worried about this being too common of a play tonight, there's another guy I will throw at you, Mike Brosseau at $3K going up against John Means. Again, limited plate appearances against this guy, and this is someone who just got called back up on Sunday. But in 11 current plate appearances against Means, he has 4 home runs. That's just something I cannot ignore. You can mix both of these guys into your lineup tonight, but if you're worried about Padres being too frequent of a play in other lineups tonight, then I would say that Brosseau's the guy where you can differentiate.
Matt, $3,900 for Cronenworth. How do we feel?
So we still have the same dynamic that we had yesterday where Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jake Cronenworth and Trevor Story are all shortstop-only eligible players, and all 3 of them are at Coors Field. So in yesterday's big $5 GPP, Tatis came in at 29%, Cronenworth and Story were both at 13%. I think tonight probably looks pretty similar, and at that ownership, if that's where Cronenworth is, again, I think he's a really, really strong play. It's just hard to not play Tatis, right? Like if you're stacking the Padres, Tatis is their best player. He's probably the best hitter you can use in DFS in any context. One, because he's a shortstop, so he's playing a position where there's just more value in getting more production there. But he also hits for power, steals bases, like he scores fantasy points, and he's a great player. So playing Cronenworth means you can't have Tatis, and that's just kind of a tough call. But I do like all of these guys. It's just, like everyone else is saying, the ownership could be high. But the other dynamic you get here is that there are other great shortstops on this slate who no one will have because these 3 guys will take up so much ownership. So the main reason not to play Cronenworth for me, it's not so much that we're actively trying to be contrarian, it's that you have Carlos Correa is in a really good matchup and won't have much ownership, and Corey Seager and Bo Bichette and Tim Anderson, and there's so many choices here. So I think Cronenworth is among the best, but you could get some shortstops who are really good players tonight who are maybe 1 or 2% owned in tournaments just because of this 3 shortstop thing going on at Coors Field.